Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day today. As you can see right next to me, we've got the latest generation of affordable tube amps from StageRite. We've got the head and the combo, so we're going to take a look at these guys, of course give you guys a bunch of tones, look at the features, even do a teardown, see what the construction is like on these affordable amps. So here we go, let's check them out. So what exactly is the deal with these StageRite amps? Well, number one, they're all tube, which is absolutely fantastic. Number two, well, they're 50 watts each. So the head is 50, the combo is 50 watts, and they have master volume. So if you don't want to make your ears bleed, well, you can just turn it down. And if you need clean headroom, well, you can just crank it up, which is great. Number three, well, they're both 2-channel amps. So you get a clean channel and you get a dirty channel. You also get verb and you get 3-band EQ on each channel, independent of the other. So to be honest, those are pretty good specs. There's not much more you could want out of a tube amp than what we have right here. Let's spin them around and take a look at the back. Now on the back side, we've got our main power cable here. We've got a speaker output section, which is fantastic. If you want to swap to a different speaker or add an extension cabinet, you can totally do it, which is awesome. A line out, a send and return for effects loop, which again is awesome, and a foot switch. All right, so those are the basic specs of the amp. We'll look in greater detail when we do the teardown at the tubes and the speakers and the construction and all of that kind of stuff. But I do want to mention these amps are heavy. And I mean that in the best way possible. If you've ever lugged around, a high quality tube amp, whether it's a combo or a head, they can be back-breakingly heavy. That's just something that comes along with tube amps. And the StageRite, while not back-breakingly heavy, is reassuringly heavy, which is absolutely fantastic when you're talking about budget amps. Some of them, you pick them up and you're like, oh, it feels like this cabinet's made of cardboard or something like that. These are, they're pretty good. So I think the head is about 36 pounds and the combo here is 50 pounds. So that lets me know right away that we've got a proper cabinet, but as I mentioned, we'll tear it apart at the end and take a look and see what we got. But I thought I'd mention that. Other than that, let's test out some of the tones. That's obviously the main thing when you're buying a tube amp. What does it sound like? So let's do that right away and then we'll go on to the other stuff. All right, so we're all ready to go. Today I'll be playing through a Fender Player Series Stratocaster. This is a guitar I think a lot of people are very familiar with, so we'll stick with that for now. And let's start with the clean channel, everything at 12 o'clock, including the verb. So let's listen to that verb just to see what the 12 o'clock trail sounds like. Yeah, so I mean, a nice run-of-the-mill verb sounds good. Now let's just do some informal playing here. Now there is a bright switch, which you wouldn't necessarily always expect, on an amp in this price range. That being said, all the previous generations of StageRites have had bright switches, so I love to see it here again. Let's engage that and see what it sounds like. Yeah, so an absolute massive difference. So if you have a guitar equipped with humbuckers, it's just so easy to hit the bright switch, or if you're playing with single coils, just to disengage it and get a really warm sound. So that's a really nice feature to have. I think I'm just gonna leave it off for now. Yeah, but that makes a big difference. Let's test out the verb here. So let's just go all the way up. yeah, so I would say it's serviceable. Like, it sounds pretty good. I would probably leave it, yeah, maybe at somewhere around 4 o'clock. Yeah, 3 or 4, somewhere in there for just like a nice kind of filler, classic guitar kind of sound. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so now let's EQ it sort of like I would for a clean tone. So that means taking the mids and cutting them. So I'm just gonna cut them like this. I'm gonna leave my treble up and my treble here and my bass like that. And let's just kind of see what that sounds like. Yeah, nice. Okay, so then let's add that middle all the way up. I'm going to take the bass down, add some treble there, and I just want to see how powerful these controls are. Wow, yeah, that treble control is very, very powerful. And take that all the way down. Yeah, that's good to hear because, again, on some tube amps I've played, the EQ is just kind of like a general sweetener or like sort of like a general flavor changer. This one's very dynamic. So that's all I just wanted to see is how much the EQ would actually affect your tone, and it's great. It's very, very powerful. All right, so now let's jump over and check out the dirty channel. Now it's identical to the clean channel other than it doesn't have a bright switch. So the bright switch is dedicated to the clean channel. On the dirty channel, you've got your gain and 3-band EQ. Here's what that sounds like. I'll show you guys on the screen the settings. So our gain is pretty much at 3 o'clock there. All right, so now let's check and boost those mids. I'm gonna crank them, kind of play something similar. Let's cut the mids. So that does take a lot of the volume out for sure. So I'm just gonna leave those slightly boosted. I'm gonna take the bass down a little bit. I'm gonna crank the treble, see what that does. Yeah, I mean, all the clarity you could want. So it's nice to see that the drive EQ is similar to the clean. Very, very nice. So let's take that up and yeah, let's just take the gain all the way up quite a bit more and see what happens here. Take it all the way up. Definitely wants to feed back there, but lots of sustain there as well. All right, so let's open this up and take a look. Now I've already taken the screws off the back panel, so let's just pull that off. And I've got to say, very nice. Nothing thin or cheap about it. So this looks like just MDF, but very, very solid. Nice thick piece, so that's great to see. The backing here looks like plywood, as you guys can see. You can see the grain going through there. And the whole front face of the amp that the speaker is mounted to is also plywood. So very, very solid. The rest of the cabinet looks like MDF on the bottom, sides and top. But as you guys can see, nice and thick. You know, gotta give props to Stage Right. Every single generation of amp they put out, they make better. So, you know, this is really, really encouraging. It's great. The verb tank here, you got spring verb. You can see the springs on either end there. I would say it's not the best in the unit, one of the weaker parts of the unit. Sounds okay, but not super high end. So there you go. And then on the speaker, we've got a Celestion 7080. Now, in the past, I've made myself very clear, this is not one of my favorite Celestion speakers. And in my previous Stage Right little combo that I owned, I replaced the speaker almost right away, and it really livened that amp up. So some people like the tone of the speaker. I gotta be honest, it's personal preference, but it isn't my favorite. So this is something I'll probably replace. But yeah, very, very solid. Let's open up the top piece here. I've just left one screw in here and take a look in behind. Now, this is anchored to the cable. So let me just get the screw out here and pop, there we go. Pop the cable out. So this connects to your speaker. So if you ever want to change your speaker, it's really, really easy. It's like 4 screws and you pop your quick connects, put the new one in, that's it. So easy. You know what, I'll just let that dangle there. I think that's going to be okay. So here's a look at the inside of the amp. So we got a nice fan blowing right on the tubes. And I gotta say, check this out. This is not something I was expecting. I'll see if I can get it out. I think I can. A little awkward behind the fan, so bear with me. Here we go. Okay, so this was a huge surprise. Check it out. We've got JJ tubes in here, which are very high quality, pretty expensive tubes. So like super impressed by this. This is a 6L6 in here. There's 2 of them. And yeah, we got the fan blowing right on them, which is nice. Your power supplies look decently big as well. And let's pop off. You got 3 AX7s and then, oh, I forget what this is. I'll put it on the screen right now. It's the lower output version. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Let's pull off the cover and see if I can wiggle this one out. Oh, tubes are in there really good. Oh man, yeah, another JJ Ruby, man. So they didn't skimp on the tubes. I gotta say, I was not expecting this at all. So really, really nice. So yeah, there's the AX7. So yeah, man, some seriously high quality tubes in this amp. Very, very impressed with that. All right, so let's talk final thoughts. Should you buy this amp? How much is it? And how does it compare to other things on the market? Now, I think the king of, the small combo amp market is definitely the Blues Junior. That's a very popular amp, and for good reason. It sounds really good, but it is famously feature starved. It's just a single channel, no gain control, so it just kind of gives you a low output clean tone, and at only 15 watts, you run out of power very, very quickly. So it's not really comparable to this amp. This is 50 watts. It's much more powerful. You can, play very loud, clean if you need to, depending on your venue or whatever, and a ton of different features. So I don't think that's necessarily comparable, but the Blues Junior is very popular. It's about $650 US, which is pretty expensive. The combo here is $500 and just the head is $400. Now, when we compare maybe a little bit more apples to apples with maybe like something like the Marshall DSL-40, which again is a very popular amp as well. That one's 40 watts, this one's 50. The Marshall doesn't have independent EQ for both channels, which is very nice because you don't necessarily want your dirty tone to sound like EQ-wise, like your clean tone. So it's really nice to be able to set up your clean tone with the EQ that you like, and then when you switch over to your dirty tone, it's a completely different EQ, maybe for soloing or maybe for just some rhythm playing or whatever. So it's nice to have that flexibility. The Marshall doesn't have it, and the Marshall's quite a bit more expensive at, I think, about $800 US. So again, that's like $300 difference. That's substantial. So I think price-wise, it definitely blows anything away, and feature-wise, it has more than amps, much more expensive than it. So, and all of those amps are made in China, just like this one. So it doesn't matter if it's the Marshall, the Fender, the Stage Right, they're all made in China. So that's kind of equal across the board. And I gotta say, every generation of Stage Right I've played, I think, yeah, the previous 2. This is the 3rd one I've played. They keep getting better and better, and they listen to their customers. I always hated the little mirror insert here. It was always hard to read, always reflecting if you had lights. And here they've just gone with a classic, black and white look, which I think number one looks better, looks really good, and is much easier to read and tweak. The knobs are a little smaller because they crammed so much on each channel. That's the only thing I noticed. The chicken heads, they're kind of like mini chicken head knobs, so it's just a little bit different. They're still very easy to use, but I gotta say the look of the new StageRight just looks much more classic, looks more classy, looks more refined, and as you guys saw, it's built like a tank. Plywood, MDF, and yeah, nothing to complain about. Super high-end tubes. Again, I was not expecting that. I was expecting unbranded tubes, but they're all JJ's, again, which is great. And yeah, there you go. So this one's $500. If you just want the head because you have your own cab or whatever, it's $400. That's a steal. Like, I can't think of any other amp head that has the 2 channels, independent EQ, all the features that I've mentioned for $400. That's a really good deal. And again, yeah, with those high-end tubes. So if you're looking for like a good tube amp, 50 watts, this will fill like almost any venue. And if you're playing somewhere bigger, just put a mic in front of it and you can play a stadium. That's what I always say. Don't worry about having stacks and all that kind of stuff. Just find an amp that you like, and whether it be a small combo or something like that, and you can play anywhere. So yeah, overall really impressed yeah, with the construction and the features. Great amp. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to do so. We got lots of great videos lined up for you guys. I will link to all the gear I used in this video down in the video description below. You can check it out there. Other than that, have yourself a great day.